One button, 24mm speaker, 18350, and just like the Acolyte, we have a little dagger saber you can take out. How cool is that? This is one of the one-day challenges. I forget which Zodiac it is. This was made fully from scratch in under 24 hours with my own mechanism. It's not based on anything I've ever seen. And it was actually come about by an accident. I machined this shroud wrong and created this little lip. And this little lip just happened to line up perfectly with this groove. And during the build, I had the idea that if I spring-loaded the shrouds, I could have them lock over the little lip. Like so. And then it's got a twist lock so everything lines up. The upper blade is very simple. It's got an 832 screw here. Feel free to replace that with any other 832 screw. It just puts light pressure on the blade because it also holds down the shroud, but you may find with thinner blades, it might not press down enough, so you see it just barely protrudes in there, but feel free to replace that if you desire. The blade on the mini saber never needs to come out, so you don't need to touch any of those 3 screws. You have your button here for activation. It's a single button setup. So you have to hold it to turn it off. Accessing the chassis is easy. We've got a little set screw here. It's an M2.5, and there's a little handle on top of the speaker so you can grab it, pull it out. You need to be careful when you insert it not to press down on the battery with the set screw. It's a very, very tight install because obviously we don't have a lot of space, but you're gonna line it up and slide it in. You'll feel a little spring, and then you can tighten the set screw. The larger saber is much the same. We've got a set screw up here. You just loosen it. And then you'll notice on this one, we actually have 2 magnets, and that's because sometimes it can get a little stuck on that long depth it has to go down. You can stick anything metal up there, and it helps you pull the chassis out. This also helps distinguish which chassis is for which saber. And again, if you notice here, I misaligned it one time. I put it on the battery, so really double, triple check that it's lined up right because you do not want to damage the battery on this. Putting it back in can be tricky if you don't have super long fingers, but you can just stick something in and just press down until you feel it spring back and forth. Then hold that thing down, tighten the screw, and check that you've got it right. Now for added security, these J-locks can only go on one way. To slide it back on, you're going to have to kind of develop this little motion. I like to push down with my thumb there and pull up with my finger there. And then that helps slide it all together. But you'll notice you don't have to do that to pull it off because I've added a little chamfer. If we flip this around though, it'll slide over, but it won't go on. So just slide it around. It's very secure. I wouldn't recommend dueling with this because the batteries are super tiny and the chassis is kind of fragile, but the hilt itself is very sturdy, very secure, and so cool.